All right, pre-fight, night of the fight, Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Geale, the Australian versus the Kazakh. What we know for sure is this should be a great fight for as long as it lasts. Daniel Geale is not someone to shy away um, from an attack. He went over to Germany, beat the hard-hitting Felix Sturm. We all saw what Felix Sturm's punch did to Darren Barker in a title-winning effort by Felix Sturm. So we know Daniel Geale has a heck of a chin. In fact, he's lost two, never been knocked out. His only losses were split decision uh, manners. So that lets you know this guy knows how to take great fighters to the distance. He took Felix Sturm to the distance. He took Anthony Mundine to the distance, avenged that loss, and he also took Darren Barker to the distance, who is a fairly run-of-the-mill contender middleweight that did recently score a title and then got knocked out in 2 rounds, blown out completely by Felix Sturm. So hard to really judge Darren Barker's skill set. He also fought Sergio Martinez in another losing effort going for a world title. So this is a very interesting fight. Daniel Geale is probably one of the most underrated middleweights. He's a guy that can probably beat a lot of different guys. In fact, I think him and Peter Quillen's a 50-50 fight. Just my opinion, but I think that's a 50-50 fight. So Golovkin definitely has the hype machine behind him. He's got HBO's back. He's been knocking everyone out, and he's looking like a true contender, number one contender to Miguel Cotto, who does have the middleweight crown. Um, and I just think this is a solid fight. But considering everything that we know about these two fighters, Gennady Golovkin has been groomed for this moment. And he's one of the guys who has a hype machine behind him, and he's got the skills to back it up. This guy is a bona fide uh, solid technician with massive punching power. you you want to know how big that punching power is? Just ask Chris Stevens. He had the fucking Ric Flair face just by one of those left hooks. And Daniel Gill's got to watch out because even in his boxing experience and his huge uh, huge in terms of all of his 30 wins and 2 losses. Golovkin for sure is probably the biggest puncher he's ever faced. So this can definitely go a number of ways. Um, and it all depends on rhythm. It all depends on who's fighting whose fight and the pace and the rhythm of the fight. If Golovkin can get a fast start and quickly get in rhythm, he's gonna have a breakout performance for sure. Into a spot where he's calling out Miguel Cotto and he's nipping at the other champion's heels. So I really truly believe that Golovkin does have all the skills and ability to pretty much overpower Daniel Geale. And we live in a fucking boxing era that as much as I hate to say, the boxers are not getting enough credit, and now the punchers are really getting more credit for the work they're doing, whether it's landing or not. The punchers, and I'm talking about guys like Canelo Alvarez, even guys like Golovkin. He's a puncher. He's a come forward fighter, but he fights intelligently. He fights with technique. He can come forward and counter you. So a lot of different uh, elements to Golovkin's game, and I just think it'll be enough to beat Daniel Geale. Geale's a solid opponent. He is going to be a tough out for any other middleweight in the top 10. He's a tough out to beat, and I think Golovkin will pull through and pass this next test on his way to a title shot. So yeah, I like Golovkin. I think Geale, if he's lucky, he's really got to be on his triple A game. He's got to be world class to beat Golovkin in New York in his shining moment. Um, that is built around his brand, his product, his stardom really depends on this fight. That Golovkin's fighting in the main arena of Madison Square Garden. It's not the mini, it's not the other, venue, like the baby venue of the Garden. That's where he was fighting earlier. Now he's in the big arena. This is the big test from K2, looking to see if Golovkin can draw because they know he can fight, but can he draw? And this is it. This is it. All the bones are on the line in this one, and I think Golovkin will pull it off by decision. Golovkin by decision. That's my pick. He's actually 3-1. The odds are given for Golovkin to win by decision. So he's definitely favored to knock out Dan Geale. I'm not sure that he'll do it. However, I would not be surprised if Geale did get knocked out. However, I do believe this will go the distance. Golovkin by decision. Let me know what you guys think. E King Fight News YTBC. Check it out, guys.